Hey, Frank, great to see you. How's it going?
Hey, Randy, it's great to be on. Really enjoyed the time with David Nour. That Twitter chat, that's a little challenging, but I think we got through it all right. It's been a good week. You guys are doing a great job with sales and community. I'm excited about the idea and I'm glad to be here.
Great, thanks. And for those that haven't seen it, Frank is episode three. That
Three, you told me one.
well, it's yours is the best, of course.
Well,
But
all right.
episode three that was released on Wednesday morning. So it's a podcast that you can see on salescommunity.com. But this is the first that we're doing as a live AMA Ask Me Anything Zoom with Frank Rauch, the channel chief at Checkpoint Software. And Dan, great to have you. We got others joining, and Charles, I think you're there too, correct? You got to pay attention here, Charles. Anyway, all right, Frank. So everybody knows a lot about you, but I just was thinking, in terms of you getting into the channel, did you choose the channel or did the channel choose you?
Yeah, it's a great question, Randy, and it goes back a long, long way, probably longer than I'd like to admit. So everybody says, "Hey, you're the channel guy. You spent your career in channel," but I mean, realistically, the first half plus of my career, I was in direct sales. So I was doing a lot of things. I worked for IBM in Montvale. I worked for IBM in Armonk. Basically, ran a region, ran the pharmaceutical vertical for Compaq. Basically, we got acquired by HPE. I ran literally half the US at that time. And then Jack Novia and Dave Booth, who you know, pulled me in and said, "Hey, we needed somebody to run strategy and planning." And it turned out to be the worst experience and the best experience of my life. I had the opportunity to be with Bain. I had the opportunity to be with McKinsey. I met Marius Haas as part of the process because he was running strategy for Mark Hurd. I was running strategy for the Americas for Dave and Jack at that time. So anyway, did it for about a year and a half. We were able to work out the Comcast deal as part of that assignment. It was the biggest deal that HPE ever had at that point. And they were very thankful for the work that I did. So they sat me down. I remember the morning, sat me down. They said, "Hey, we'll give you any job we have the ability to give you." And I said, "Well, this channel thing seems pretty cool. You get to play golf, you get to have great dinners, get to meet a lot of great people," and didn't really know what I was getting myself into. But at that point, I started to run the HP channel, and it turned out great. So that's how I got in the channel. The channel kind of found me rather than me finding the channel. But my advice to anybody that would like to be able to have a great channel career is carry a bag, own a number before you get into the channel, because you'll have credibility when you get there.
Yeah, great. Very well said. And see, Michelle, I see you join. How you doing?
Good. We still don't have power at our house, so
On the show.
Oh, no way. Down in
Two days.
wow. Hey, anyway, so speaking of Michelle and Prosis, Frank, what would you say makes the best channel partner or channel partners?
Well, I think what Michelle did with Prosis is a pretty good example. You need to be able to have committed leadership. You need to have people that lead from the front. I'll give you another good example. WWT is probably another great example as well, where it really doesn't depend on who you talk to at WWT. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody understands the value prop. Everybody can articulate it, et cetera, and then to continue to invest. And by the way, investment means a lot of different things. It means bringing on talent, means bringing on complementary lines, means transitioning to the cloud, picking up on new market trends, et cetera. But also, in the case of Prosis, which is a good example, maybe having the fortitude and the understanding that an acquisition or getting acquired, in their case, might be the best route to real success and growth.
Wow, that's great. And out of curiosity, the kind of given your kind of HP VMware kind of flavor of partners, you are kind of in the same category, but with Checkpoint, have you been able to leverage some of those? Or are these all kind of net new security only type solution providers?
Yeah. So again, it's really interesting scenario. And when I joined Checkpoint, which is hard to believe, it's almost 2 years ago. You find out you didn't know what you didn't know. So when I joined Checkpoint, I started to meet a bunch of these partners that were big partners for Checkpoint. I'd never heard of them in my life. They were security pure play partners, and they're great. They were with us for 25 years. Gil was knocking on our door 25, 26 years ago, getting ready to be able to introduce the firewall and to be able to sell the firewall after he invented it. But the whole thing has transitioned. And we need to be able to respect the legacy. So we need to be able to respect those guys, sustain those guys. They have great install bases. They're dealing with some of the biggest accounts and they're some of the greatest people in the world. But the other phenomenon that's occurring right now is that the data center guys like ProSys, which pivot, like I mentioned, WWT, Presidio, CDW, Sirius, bunch of other partners that are big data center partners are starting to build these massive security practices. So they're building practices that might be $1 billion plus. Then you have the GSIs, your Accentures, your Deloitte, your NTTs, your IBMs, your DXCs that are building these massive security practices. And if that wasn't enough to keep me busy on any given day, you also have the Microsoft partners. So we won a number of awards with Microsoft. And the latest one happened maybe 3 or 4 days ago where we were announced as part of their winner's circle for their Q1. So now you have the Azure partners, you have the AWS partners, and you have the Google Cloud Platform partners that are coming over because they're security play as well. And if it didn't get any more interesting, you also have some, Symantec getting acquired by Broadcom, which basically opens up a whole new channel in terms of people that might be worried about that dynamic that are gravitating over to us. So it's really, you never want to take advantage of the pandemic. The pandemic is absolutely tragic, but by accelerating people to the cloud and working from home and securing a remote workforce, it has given us opportunities.
Well, that's great. Hey, Michelle, I'll cold call you. Any questions you have for Frank?
Michelle may not have power. Yeah. She may not have internet.
Well, we don't have internet or power here. Just using my phone, so I keep going on mute because my neighbor's generators make a lot of noise. But no particular questions. We'll call him offline if we need something once we get her.
Yeah. How about any observation you've known Frank like I have for a long time? What do you think makes him a great channel chief?
Oh, Frank, he's unbelievably responsive. If anybody in this call knows that, by the time you can finish your text or email, Frank's already starting on a response. He's amazingly well connected. He has the best integrity of probably any channel manager I know. If he says he's going to get something done, he will get it done. He doesn't promise things he can't get done for you. But those are some of the top ones that come to my mind right now about Frank. Truly always enjoyed our relationship and our partnership.
Good. Very.
That's mutual, Michelle. Thank you.
Very.
Randy, what else do you have on your mind?
Very well said. And what about, you've done some creative things during COVID, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a remarkable experience, and we were able to partner with a number of different large partners and small partners. And it was everything from basically providing food. It was helping the Red Cross be able to serve. And it was also on the customer side. So basically we had the hospitals that needed security, but they also needed ventilators. So we were able to extend terms. We were able to take deals without POs to be able to enable them to get ventilators. when a large shipping company, which will remain nameless right now, basically said, hey, we need stuff, we need it tomorrow, and the PO is going to take a little while. We're able to step up to that challenge as well, shift money, shift financing to be able to put people in a good position. But I guess the remarkable part of it, and the part of it that makes me really feel good, is without going into naming all the partners, and by the way, includes Synex, it includes Ingram, it includes the distributors, the way that we stepped up together to be able to help people was just phenomenal.
Oh, that's great. What about any creative things you did with your team or with your partners, business-wise or morale-wise or team building-wise?
Yeah, we did. We did a lot. We have Friday, basically Friday activities. I think there's a costume contest, which, because of you getting me involved in all the things you've gotten me involved in this week, I did not have time to put together a costume, but I will not hold that against you. But yeah, it's different morale building things. I think the community, I think the partners have gotten closer together as a result of being able to do this. And, then I think it's the blocking and tackling of leadership. So do you have, if you had your team calls every other week, do you pull them into a week? Do you have somebody tell a story on those team calls? Do you enforce empathy? Do you basically change your one-on-one schedule so you're having more frequent one-on-ones? And then do you do check-ins, not only on your team, but also on the partners? Yeah, everybody struggles in their own way through this environment. Some people are very loud about it. Some people are very open about it. Some people are very closed, and you need to be able to, deal with it all.
Yeah, great. Really, really well said there. Great leadership by you, of course. Charles, do you have any question for Frank? You're on mute.
Yes, I do. Can you hear me all right?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
I joined the call a few minutes late, so I didn't hear your opening, Frank, but I'm curious. I work for a company that provides high performance computing, the hard metal as opposed to the cloud. But I have a family member that works for a consultant, and his job basically, he's a mobilization manager, and he's working with a lot of these Fortune 500 companies that are migrating to the cloud from their data centers. And I'm just wondering what you see as far as trends, in terms of how much is actually going to the cloud and how much is a hybrid, how much is staying, in-house, that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, again, you can look at Gartner, you can look at IDC, but I think, part of it is how much is going there. The other part of it is how quickly it's going there. So, it's a big market. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but let's call it a $300 billion total addressable market right now. You have the growth platforms, you have the hyperscalers that are doing very well, still growing at double digits, being Microsoft with Azure, Google Cloud Platform, as well as, of course, AWS. You have different approaches to be able to make it easier. You have marketplaces that have been developed in the market right now. So, if you look at what we're seeing, basically that business accelerating, just tremendously in terms of the time that somebody has an idea to the time that they go to the cloud. And I think that's the difference. I don't think it's necessarily the number of people that are going to the cloud this year. I think it's the acceleration of the time and the willingness to be able to take risk. And what's driving that is really two things. One, it's agility. So basically they want to be able to have a more agile environment, something they can transform if something like this ever occurs again, hopefully not. The other thing is people don't necessarily want to be next to each other in data centers right now. So this whole brick and mortar concept, which is going from commercial real estate to data centers to a whole bunch of other things, is definitely affecting and benefiting the cloud. So hopefully that answers, but that's the trend.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Good.
Great. Hey, so Frank, I'm sure you're going to get a bunch of your team watching this. What are your marching orders to your team?
Marching orders of the team are get up a little earlier and join the webcast live, but a lot of them are on the West Coast. There's a large number in Europe right now, and obviously there's an enormous amount in Tel Aviv, and Fridays are a day off for Tel Aviv. So I would imagine we're going to catch a bunch of them. I guess the advice is, really listen to the partners, listen to the market. Basically, give back whenever you can give back to be able to participate in these events. Because I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it a little bit for the Checkpoint brand, but it's just helping people. And that would be my advice. It would be, basically take advantage of the opportunities that the market is offering to you right now, but do it with empathy.
Great. So speaking about giving back and helping, I know you've been active with several charities. Any flags there you want to wave or share?
Yeah, maybe I should not commit to as many things as I commit to. That would be the red flag. And I know you're in the same spot. But yeah, I'm still having a lot of fun. In fact, this week was tremendous. So I'm on the advisory board of Drexel University's School of Entrepreneurship. And we had the opportunity to meet 23 remarkable individuals that had ideas about companies that may range from small houses to be able to get away from the pandemic, to apps that help college students get through the pandemic, to charity offerings, to services on demand, to a whole bunch of different things. And these kids, they're in college, they're in Drexel right now, but they're not at Drexel. So we literally had students dialing in from the middle of the night from Russia, from the Middle East, et cetera, to be able to demonstrate their projects and really compete. And the other part of it is I was on with the board of trustees. A couple of those guys were judges with me. So the networking opportunity is incredible, and the ability to get back is really, really cool too. And I've done a lot of the work for the junior channel as well. People that are just starting to get into the channel and doing a lot of mentoring there. Still very active with the Flyers alumni. In fact, we're having an event next week, which is kind of cool. And then we have some other things coming up, and still very active with Amigos de Jesus, which is an orphanage down in Honduras. When I was never totally involved, but I've always been involved. But it's been a 20-year project from 4, 7, 8 kids to now over 500 kids that are now in not only Honduras, but also other environments in Latin America.
Yeah, that's great. And you've done your pre-COVID for lots of years, your golf outing, and that was the I think main charity for that, correct?
Yeah. The golf outing. Yes, we are trying to get it back on the books. People at Commonwealth are working very hard with me to be able to get back on the books. It's a little bit of a different environment. We were unable to do it today because it's not like a local tournament. People fly in from all over the country to be able to play in this, which is great. But the problem is people are not flying in just for golf tournaments anymore. So we're going to get it going again next week. Our next year, October 4th, is the tentative date, and thank you for asking.
Oh, great. Good to know. You should send it around. I'm sure you get a great response.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. It's a little early right now, but yes.
Dan, any questions from you?
Not that I can think of right now.
Nothing. Okay.
Okay. He asks me questions every day. We compete for network bandwidth.
There you go.
The house, yes.
Frank, I got a question for you.
Tucker.
So in the sales community, we're getting a lot of members joining from all different size companies. And I think right now it's, as you said, it's an interesting opportunity to take advantage of what the market has to offer, but do it with empathy. So do you have any suggestions for some of these smaller companies who are just starting to build out their channel program?
Yeah, there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of resources out there, and I had the opportunity to be an advisor with Randy on Cohesity, Cloud Genera, SkyCure, and a number of other companies. I guess the advice is really know your market. Basically, don't go for the obvious. Basically the obvious are some of the big box, some of the some of the broad line type of opportunities. Try to get that mix right between the boutique and the larger resellers. Try to look at some of the distributors that might be your early stage distributors rather than some of the more mature distributors. And then try to figure out, I think this is kind of key, is trying to figure out what your alignment is going to be. So meaning that if you have a product that works well with Microsoft, or you have a product that works, Veeam is a great example. So Veeam, basically established a channel on the tails of VMware, which was really smart. I mean, they were the virtual backup for that. So if you establish that alignment, you can almost bridge into somebody else's channel, and you can, really save yourself a lot of time. And then just kind of listen to the great resources that are out there. I spent an hour yesterday with Zift talking about a partner relationship management. Jay McBain from Forrester and I talk all the time. I was on the phone with Larry Walsh this week from the 2112 group. So those resources are out there. Just be informed, take it slow, understand what works, really leverage, force multiply the adjacency, and then basically let it go and have fun.
Love it. Thank you.
Great question, Tucker. Thanks. Hey, Frank, speaking of Veeam, Kevin Rooney's somebody we both know well and has really been fantastic to see flourishing in his career. Any others that you've worked with over the years that you're especially proud of?
Yeah, we were doing a count the other day, and there's probably 20 of them right now that have worked for me in different roles, mainly HPE, VMware, and even Checkpoint, who are doing very, very well and running their own channel or have significant roles in the channel. And it varies. I mean, it really, really varies in terms of the industries, in terms of the type of companies they're working for, et cetera. Rather than getting into a whole bunch of names. I mean, I think that's the cool part about it. Kevin's a great example. He's a lot of fun to hang around with. He's a good friend, and we moved through HPE, through VMware together, and now he's over at Veeam. And I think you remember that evening in Barcelona. When I brought up the idea to you and Radmir that he would be a good guy to run the channel, and obviously he's been super successful. So I'm real proud of Kevin. I'm real proud of the other 19 or so that have worked for me, but take no credit whatsoever in terms of their careers. I mean, they may have asked me for advice. I may have given them advice, but they did it just like Kevin did on his own.
You can take no credit, therefore you can take no blame, but they certainly all are, I'm sure, very thankful to what they learned from you, and still continue to learn from you and your example.
Yeah,
so
I would love to tell you it's rocket science, Randy, but you know what? It really isn't. I think Michelle worded it very, very well when she said some of the attributes might have been, some of them deserved, maybe some of them undeserved, but the reality of it is don't burn bridges. Be true to yourself, check your ego at the door. And people like, people that we both know, CEOs of various channels, and again, I don't want to get into name dropping, will respect that. And a relationship that started literally 17 years ago, 18 years ago is still sustainable now.
Yeah, that's great. So back on the fun side, Michelle and I were able to enjoy lots of your incentive trips. Any favorite one you want to bring up?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, but I think it goes back to kind of the topic that I was on before. Is you need to be able to spend time building these relationships, but the relationships have to be built on something. So there's a bunch of guys around. I can name 20, 25 of those people that have failed in the channel. Because basically that's all it was. It was dinners, it was golf. There was nothing ever behind it. But we had the opportunity, and Randy, you really brought this to HPE that said, hey, let's celebrate success. and let's celebrate success together. So we were able to go to a number of really, really great, interesting venues, and just have a really good time when we were there. My favorite incentive trip. I can tell you which one it wasn't. It had nothing to do with Mayan dancers. And it definitely had nothing to do with pirates either. Let's put it that way. So let's exclude those two, and it's probably another one after that.
Mine was the Mayan dancers, and I have pictures too.
Yes, we've tried to scrape and crawl the internet as much as possible to remove any images that ever existed.
And you need my phone. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, but it's a great example to motivate people to start working out and getting back in shape. Let's put it that way.
Anyway, all right. So in conclusion here, I think last final question, Frank, where do you see the channel going kind of 5 years from now? I remember going back, even 20 years ago, people thought, oh, the channel's going to go away. Manufacturers and the vendors and ISVs, kind of are going to all do it themselves. And, the channel just continues to seem to flourish and go and grow. Where do you see things down the road?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. It's something that's really being highly debated right now in terms of the viability, not the viability of the channel, because the channel will always be there. But when you look at the channel, the term omni-channel is kind of being thrown around a lot, which is a really interesting term. And what that means is that the buying influences and the buying points will shift over time, and you're going to have this all connected type of channel. And let me just give you a couple examples. So, your examples, one example is marketplaces. So, if you look at the top trending growth areas, so I'm gonna call every month. Rod Bapty runs the group, and it's the 50 channel leaders. So, it's Gav from Microsoft, it's Carl Sutherland, who we both know from Palo. It's a bunch of people, 50 of us. We talk about this every month, and the top ones are MSPs. So basically, somebody that can provide a service rather than just a product. Marketplaces, somebody that can provide a virtual experience rather than just brick and mortar and showing up at the door. And it's not just AWS or Azure marketplaces. It's basically, if you look what Arrow is doing with the ArrowSphere, or you look at Ingram with Cloud Blue that acquired Odin and basically have their own marketplace, et cetera. And then you have an influencer model, you have an ISV model. So it's not as easy as it kind of used to be, where you had a bunch of big partners, you managed the big partners, you had the distributors manage the long tail or the smaller partners. Now you have to be able to serve this entire buying experience, which is shifting. So I think, my advice, my outlook is channel is great. It's extremely viable right now. It's getting stronger versus weaker, and it's just going to be different, and it's going to be evolving. And to be able to keep your eye on not only the 2 points that you normally did, but more or less this whole circle, because you're going to have to serve each one. And then you're going to have to figure out what the total addressable market is, where the spend's going to go, where the cost to serve models are going to stand, and how you figure out economically how you're going to get this done. So that would be my answer.
Great. Very, very well said. Well, thanks so much for your time. As I said in the beginning, people can go to salescommunity.com to see Frank's Tech Sales Insights podcast that was posted with his interview from Dave Nour. And this is our first AMA Ask Me Anything on Sales Community. So hopefully the first of several. And Frank, I know for sure the channel partners, thousands of them out there, are very thankful for you, because certainly what you've done to bring HPE, VMware, and Checkpoint in has been fantastic to their businesses and to their families. So everybody for joining. And Frank, as always, thank you so much, and hope everybody has a great day and a great weekend.
Yeah, Randy, thank you. It's great. It's a great opportunity. I know the replays on these things, especially when you have them early on a Friday morning, tend to be